Okay, so we want to have bombs explode whenever they're adjacent to any matches that have happened in our game. So we're going to do that in our find matches function. So let's go back into our match finder, and here we have it finding all our matches that we possibly can, and these are all fine. We don't need to worry too much about this, but what we're going to do is at the bottom we're going to add a public void called check for bombs. And we're going to call this right at the end of the match finding function. So we're just going to say here, check for bombs. So what is this function going to do? Well, basically, this is just going to check and see around each of the matches that we get from our find all matches function. So we do our find all matches, and we have any matches are added to our current matches list. We're basically going to go through that list, and around each one, we're going to check. So let me just go in here. So we've got our bomb here. Let's say we matched up, there was another blue one here that we're going to match up. We're going to check each side of the blue gem to see if there's a bomb there. So each gem will check left, right, up and down and see is there a bomb. So obviously there's none here, but beside this one there would be a bomb like this. And then what we're going to do is say, okay, with this bomb, we're going to mark any other gems that are around that bomb to explode. So we're going to say whatever we'll add a certain range for the bomb to use, but we'll just say, hey, the bomb can explode one gem around itself, or it can explode two gems around itself. So that way we'll be able to clear out the board in a kind of fun way. Okay, so let's go back in here, and what we're going to do then is just say we've got our check for bombs. As I said, we're going to go through all of the matches that we've already found. So we're just going to say for int I equals 0 while I is less than our current matches dot count I plus plus. We could also use a for each loop for this, but using our using just a for loop is perfectly fine. Then we're going to say gem. We're just going to create a reference to the gem we're looking at here just to make it easier for typing. We're just going to call this whatever our current matches at position I is, so whichever gem we're currently looking at. Then we're going to, again, just to make things shorter so we don't have to be looking at the gem.positionindex.x for all the checks we're about to do here. We're just going to create two simple little ints, just an int x, which is equal to whatever this gem we're looking at, its position index, whatever that is. And we're going to do the same, and int y is equal to gem.positionindex.y. Again, just to keep this a little simple and make it a lot easier on our typing. So we are going to check, as I said, in each direction around the gem. So if we want to check to the left, we have to make sure that we're not at the very left edge of the board. So we're going to say if gem.positionindex.x is greater than 0, then if on our board dot all gems at position x minus 1, because we're looking to the left, and y, we want to make sure, first of all, that that isn't null. So if that's not null, then if, again, board.all gems at x minus 1 and y dot type is equal to gem.gemType.bomb. So basically we're saying, hey, is the gem to the left of our gem a bomb? And then if it is, we're going to create a function down below here to mark the entire area around the bomb as something that should explode. So here we're going to say, we're going to create a public void mark bomb area. And we're going to call that function from here. So before we go ahead and check our other directions, let's set up this function to work the way we want to. So as I said, we want to mark all the objects around us as something that should explode. So we found this bomb here. Let's say we want to have our bombs explode every gem within a radius of 1 around it. So we wanted to say, okay, we wanted to mark this gem, this gem, this gem, this gem, and this gem. We want to mark all of them as matched so that we know to destroy them. And of course we want to mark any ones that would be above as well, but we're at the very top, so we can't let that happen. So to do this, we need to set up a radius that we want to use for our actual bombs to explode. So if we go back into our gems script in here, we're going to create a public int value that we're going to call blast size, and this will only be used if we have a bomb gem. And actually by default I'm going to set that to be equal to 1 by default. Actually no, we'll make it 2 by default, just so we can have a big massive effect appearing when we destroy our bombs. Mostly for our purposes. I find that 1 works better for actual gameplay, but for us making this, we'll put it at 2 to see how that goes. Okay, so within our mark bomb area script then, we basically want to loop through all the gems that are around us. And to do that, we can loop through it on the X and Y axis the same way we've done in our board script. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to say for int X equals, and we need to know the X position of our bombs and the area that we wanted to explode around. So obviously for that we're going to take in some input up here. So we're going to need to know the bomb position. So we're going to create a vector2 int that we'll call bomb position, and we'll also need to know which bomb gem it is that we're actually exploding, so that we can get the blast range for it, in case you want to have multiple different kinds of bombs with different sizes set up. And then our X value is going to be whatever our bomb's position is. So rather than just starting at 0 here, we're going to start at whatever the bomb position is. So say they're at position 3 in the array. We want to, let's just have it on screen so we can have a better visual of what I'm talking about here. Finish compiling there, please. So let's say, okay, here's our bomb here. Let's say we wanted to explode a radius of 2 around it. This bomb is at position 6. So we want to start checking from position 4 here and start marking these as exploding, because this is 2 less than our position of 6. So with that in mind, we could basically say whatever our position dot x currently is, we want to take away the bomb dot blast size. Then we want that to go to a maximum of x is less than or equal to bomb position dot x plus the blast size, the bomb dot blast size. And then every loop around we want to say x plus plus. Okay, so that's our x-axis. We're going to do the same thing on the y-axis. So again, for int y equals our bomb position dot y minus the bomb dot blast size up until it is y less than or equal to bomb position dot y plus the bomb dot blast size, and again y plus plus. So this is slightly different than what we've done before of just doing from 0 to the height and 0 to the width. We can actually set these x and y values to be anything. It doesn't really matter what we set them to. So now we know we're with our range of 2, we're basically going from, as I said, we would go from 4 up to 6, or we could go from say 2 up to 6 or 0 up to 4. We'd explode all those bombs along the way. So then in here we need to do a check and see first of all if the point we're looking at is within the board's potential radius. So we're going to say here, if the x value we're currently looking at is greater than or equal to 0, so basically if we're all the way on the left, and the x value is less than the board width, so we're not too far over to the right, basically we're looking at only objects on the board. And same thing on the y-axis, as long as y is greater than or equal to 0, and as long as y is less than the board dot height. Okay, now we know that we're looking at a valid gem at this point. So then we're going to do another check just to make sure that that gem isn't empty. So as long as on the board that all gems we're looking at of x and y is not equal to null, then board.allGems at x and y dot is matched equals true. So we'll mark this one as matched, and we're going to add it to our current matches list. So current matches dot add board.allGems at position x and y. So that's going to mark each of our gems around the bomb, and because of course it'll loop past the bomb itself as well, it'll also mark the bomb as matched too. So then once we get to the end of this sequence, after our for loop is ended and just before this function ends, we want to make sure that, as we've done before, we want to make sure the current matches is just full of unique matches. There's no duplicates in here. So current matches equals current matches dot distinct dot toList. There we go. Okay, so that's that function working. Let's go back up here then to our check for bombs, and where we're marking the bomb area, let's pass in the values we want to pass in here. So the position we want to go to is, we know we were looking to the left of the gem we were looking at, so it should be vector2 int of x minus 1 and y. And the actual gem we want to pass in is, again, board all gems at position x minus 1 and y. So we're looking at the board and we want to get the gem that's at the position we're looking at. Okay, so that should pass in the bomb that we've found into here, and it'll blast around the bomb and explode it all. Okay, so that's fine and dandy when we're just looking to the left. We want to do the same thing for each of the other directions around us as well, of course. So let's just copy this, and below that we're going to say if our gem position at index is less than the board dot width minus 1, because we're going to check to the right now. So we're going to replace our minuses with pluses. So x plus 1 in all these places, like so. Yep, that all makes sense. And then I'm going to copy both of these and replace the x's with y's. So if gem position index y is greater than 0, then we want to look at y minus 1. So we're looking downwards. So we'll replace these with y minus 1 in all these places. And that'll be all perfectly fine. And then actually we should just probably just rather than having to replace all the y's again, it's much easier to just replace the x's. So this time we're going to say here, if the gem position index y is less than the board dot height minus 1, and now we can just replace the minuses with pluses. And there we go. So that's how we can look at each of the direction around us, and we can find and mark the gem we have. So let's save this and go back into Unity and see if this will work. There's no real reason why it shouldn't work. Let's make sure our bomb gem is marked with a blast size of 2. Yes, it is. So let's go ahead and play. Okay, we've got one here. I need to create a match to allow me to set it off. This one. Okay, well, we got a match there, and you can see it exploded the whole bomb around us. Let's see if we can bomb with an easy match. Okay, so here we go. We've got an easy match here with the bomb. So let's explode this, and then boom, there we go. The whole radius around the bomb gets destroyed. So perfect. Our bomb works pretty nicely. One thing I'm going to do is create a little bomb effect as well. So let's go to our gem bursts here, and I'm going to create one for the bomb. So I'm just going to make a quick little change to this. I'm going to turn looping back on just so I can see it in action. I'm going to change the particle effect back to the default one. Then I'm going to change the colors to be a yellowish color to a very dark gray. I'm going to change it so it has much more emissions, and I'm going to make the shape be 3 times larger, because our blast is going to be 3 times larger. So this is very simple. This is just a quick little change to make it stand out a little bit more. So then let's make this a variant here. Remove this, and then we're going to apply that to the bomb itself. So where are we? There we go. Let's get our effect bomb variant in there, and then let's save and play it again, and let's blow up one of these bombs here. Boom, there we go. So now we get a nice little bomb effect. Oh, I left that on looping. I'll turn it off in a second. But we now have a little slight different appearance for our bomb effect. Turn off the looping. There we go. Okay, so perfect. That's our bombs working in the game.